No Disney World guest should walk away from their trip with a lingering sense of FOMO, right? That's why you're here at DFB Guide. So let's kick your fear of missing out to the curb and replace it with Disney dining bragging rights. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. As the years start coming, and they don't stop coming, the way you eat at Disney World changes. Trending restaurants change, new offerings pop into existence, and hidden gems rise to the surface. So I'm going to talk about the 4 types of meals you need to have in Disney World during your next trip so you can stay hip and with the times. If you want the full list of these restaurants sent straight to your inbox after this, just slip your email our way over at disneyfoodblog.com/4meals. We'll get you that PDF ASAP. Bon appetit! What's first up on the list? Immersive experiences. When you go to Disney, you want to be swept up in the theming. You don't want to think about back home where work and bills and drama's waiting for you on your front doorstep when you return. So the deeper you can dive into the stories Disney's telling, the better. Is this escapism? Maybe a little bit, but we are not judging. Disney Imagineers do a top-notch job of adding theming to all the Disney restaurants. You might see an animatronic alien here, backstage props there, and a hidden Mickey pretty much everywhere. But the real fun comes into play when the Imagineers whip up a restaurant that goes beyond theming. It slips into full-on immersion and makes you a key player in the story. And what makes these restaurants even better is legitimately good food. So, which restaurant did you think of first when I said immersion? Well, for Magic Kingdom, you might have immediately skipped over to Cinderella's Royal Table and Be Our Guest restaurant. And yeah, those are great, and if you're looking for the royal vibes, definitely get those. But we're going to talk about something a little bit differently here. We're going to take you over to Skipper Canteen. The story, business owner Alberta Falls was running the family's cargo shipping business when sales started to tank. To save the company, she made the executive decision to offer, drumroll please, let me do one. Okay. Jungle Cruises! Now you're seeing the connection, right? Skipper Canteen is the place you can hit up before or after a tour on the famous Jungle Cruise, or not even anywhere around Jungle Cruise, doesn't matter. Each dining room is themed differently, but each of them features fun nods to the heart of adventuring through maps and books and curios lining the shelves. But the story goes even deeper, especially if you get the chance to dine in the once hidden secret meeting room of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And the menu is just as adventurous as the storyline, featuring internationally inspired options with punny names in true Jungle Cruise fashion, like the Hearty Har Char or the Taste Like Chicken because it is. We love requesting the SCA room. You can't guarantee getting seated in there, but you can definitely request it when you check in. But give yourself a little time to look around Skipper Canteen and really take in all of the detail and all of the super interesting and inside joke decor the Imagineers have included. I think you'll be really impressed. Also, don't forget that to add to the immersion, your server is a Jungle Cruise skipper. So that could be a lot of fun if you play with that with your server. It's a blast. Now, in Disney's Hollywood Studios, the park is all about making you feel like you've dropped into the middle of your favorite film worlds. The immersion continues on into their restaurants where you can get a slight breather away from the crowds. At Sci-Fi Dine-In on Commissary Lane, you're going to be transported back to the days when drive-in theaters were all the rage. The lighting is dim to reflect a nighttime atmosphere, and your table is shaped like a convertible car. And the screen in front of you is playing cheesy B-movies and sci-fi films. Now, to really get into the spirit of the movies, you can order a cheeseburger, onion rings, and milkshake, otherwise known as the 3 food groups of the All-American Drive-In Experience, or you can choose from a number of other greasy diner-like foods. Speaking of diners, if you don't want to eat in the dark at Hollywood Studios, but you're enjoying this whole idea of immersion, the 50s Primetime Cafe in the Echo Lake section of the park has a much brighter atmosphere and even more ways to weave you into the story. This table service restaurant takes place in a 20th century kitchen, meaning you might get seated at a retro TV table that plays through old black and white show clips that were popular around the 1955 era. Now, here's a tip. If you want a TV set at your table, make sure you ask for one when you check in. It's not always a guarantee, especially if you're a 2-top, because those tables are usually 4-tops, but it's also a good idea to let your request be known regardless. Now, whether you get a TV table or not, you better watch yourself because you're not the only one in this kitchen, you know. Your uncles, aunts, and cousins, aka your servers, are going to make sure you're on your best behavior while serving up some funny antics alongside peanut butter and jelly shakes and Aunt Liz's golden fried chicken. If the server's shenanigans are a little too much immersion for you, hey, I'm an introvert, I get it, and you're not really game to sing I'm a Little Teapot in front of everybody else at the restaurant when you're literally paying thousands of dollars to be here, yeah, you can always tell your host ahead of time that you're just here to watch the fun, not necessarily be a part of it. And don't be scared to do that. It happens all the time. Now, although the food isn't necessarily out of this world, the theming at Epcot's Space 220 restaurant is. You'll take the Stellavator all the way up to the Centauri space station to dine 220 miles above Earth. While you're sipping away on celestial cosmopolitans and chowing down on some blue moon cauliflower, you'll also be able to wave at astronauts passing by those giant windows and watch other ships zip their way across the galaxy. But the parks aren't the only places you're going to find a full-on restaurant immersion. Similar to 50's Primetime Cafe, you'll find a lot more server silliness taking place over at Whispering Canyon Cafe and Wilderness Lodge, but you might be able to forgive your server for their strange behavior after they bring out those signature skillet dishes and burnt-end nachos. Wilderness Lodge is also the place you're going to find storybook dining at Artist Point with Snow White. That's where you're going to dine inside an enchanted forest, meet some of your favorite characters from the animated film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and be served a full-themed story meal that might just end with a poison apple for dessert. And then there's Trader Sam's Grog Grotto in Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, which I wasn't quite sure if I should add to this point or the next section of this video, so I settled on this one, and you'll see what I mean in a second. Trader Sam's Grog Grotto is a hidden bar tucked inside the hotel that leads you into an enchanted tropical hideaway. I just used enchanted to describe Artist Point. Is there another word that captures this? Bewitched, maybe? Interactive? Enchanted works best. Depending on what cocktails you order here are going to determine what events are triggered throughout the hideaway. You never know when an active volcano might threaten to erupt or an enraged tiki goddess might threaten to put a curse on you. And you might be served something that's literally on fire. So just keep in mind that Trader Sam's has weird hours and limited seating. There's also a virtual queue sometimes. So make sure you get a good spot on that walk-up wait list. You'll need to mosey on over about 30 minutes before the lounge opens at 3 p.m. Can you get in later in the night? Of course you can. But if you're there during a really busy time in Disney World, you may be shut out. Immersive Disney restaurants add another layer of storytelling to your vacation, transforming you from a park guest into a prince or princess, an adventurer, a time traveler, or an explorer in fantastical realms. Just check the menus for these restaurants ahead of time to make sure you're going to end up enjoying more than just the surrounding atmosphere. You can also read up on every single Disney World restaurant in the DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining 2022. That's available on dfbstore.com. And for an easy discount on the digital download, type in the code YouTube before you check out. Moving on to our next meal you have to have in Disney World. If you're tired of fighting against Disney's advanced dining reservation system and you just can't get reservations for the places you want to get, then keep listening because we often get to that point too. You might immediately associate lounges and bars with copious amounts of alcohol and places that aren't appropriate for kids. But in Disney World, things are a little bit different. Well, there is alcohol, but not necessarily copious amounts. Now, many lounges and bars in Disney are attached to a table or signature restaurant counterpart, meaning if you can't get a reservation to one of the restaurants, you might still be able to walk up and get a seat at one of these locations with no prior reservations necessary. Just go to the lounge. Now, if you're trying to get into the Star Wars themed Oga's Cantina at Hollywood Studios or the Space 220 Lounge in Epcot, those both do take reservations, so keep that in mind. Now, these lounges won't just have beverages that overlap with the main restaurant's cocktail menus, but they'll also have a selection of small bites, appetizers, and sometimes even main entrees to make a complete meal out of. So no reservation, no problem. Now, you know what I love? Disney World restaurants that exceed expectations, and that's what Steakhouse 71 does over at Disney's Contemporary Resort. We were bowled over when it opened during the kickoff of Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration. Getting a reservation for Steakhouse 71 is not impossible. Once or twice before, I've been able to snag a day of or walk-up reservation, though I wouldn't recommend relying on that strategy. But if you decide to check this place out the day of your visit and there isn't a last-minute reservation available, walk up and ask to be seated in the lounge or bar instead of the main dining room. The lounge is super swanky with retro pops of color that play into the 70s vibe, and it's also got couches and plush chairs to make your meal extra comfy cozy. Along with a full bar menu, you can order lounge bites, but not any type of lounge bites, like really, really good lounge bites. We're talking the bacon and jalapeno loaded macaroni and cheese, the ooey gooey golden stack burger that basically looks like a cheese waterfall dripping off a thick burger, and the famous bacon and eggs that carried over from the menu of the Wave of American Flavors, the predecessor of Steakhouse 71. Tired of hearing me talk about how good Ohana is over at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort? Well, knowing good and well that getting a reservation there can be just as difficult as getting in the Rise of the Resistance line without having it break down at least once. Oh, shots fired. Tambu Lounge is right next door to Ohana and offers appetizers that come off the same grill as Ohana food, like the pork and vegetable pot stickers, the Big Kahuna hot wings, and the barbecue pork ribs. And though it's not directly listed on the menu, if you ask your server for a helping of those sweet, sweet Ohana noodles, you're more than likely going to be able to slurp up one of our favorite restaurant side dishes of all time after 4 p.m. at Tambu Lounge. Tambu also has some fun and fruity themed tropical drinks like the rum and guava based back scratcher that actually comes with a full-on bamboo back scratcher just in case no one's around to help get that one itch on your spine you just can't reach. Or if you're wanting a traditional pineapple in hand beverage, you can order the Lapu Lapu and sip the day away on that fruity rum concoction. Now, the one and only signature restaurant at Disney's Animal Kingdom is called Tiffin's, and Tiffin's is a fun time with an atmosphere that celebrates travel and a menu that reflects Asian, African, and South American inspired options. But honestly, I think I love its attached little sibling, Nomad Lounge, even more. Now, those of you who have watched our videos for a long time are fully aware of my love affair with Nomad Lounge. Nomad works differently than the other two lounges I just listed off, Steakhouse 71 and Tambu. Though you don't have to make an advanced dining reservation here, you do need to sign up for the walk-up wait list. The lounge opens at 11 a.m. daily, so if you want to try to avoid the wait list entirely, jump in line 30 minutes before it opens for some late morning cocktails and lunch options. And this place has small plates that we dream about ordering again and again and again. You've got options straight from the signature restaurant next door, like the oh-so-mighty Tiffin's bread service, featuring an eclectic assortment of breads alongside red pepper hummus, spicy coriander yogurt, and ginger pear chutney. And they also have a baked lobster mac and cheese that we thought was going to be a temporary option, but it keeps coming back. So if you can't find the option on the online menu, you might be able to find it at the physical location. But true to its lounge title, it's got some stand-up specialty cocktails you're not going to find anywhere else. If you're a gin drinker, try the Annapurna Zing, which is gin, passion fruit, puree, mint, lime juice, and ginger beer. And by the way, this drink comes with a glowing lotus flower. It's beautiful. Okay, so that's Nomad. Now, not every noteworthy lounge and bar leeches off a main Disney restaurant. Some of them can stand on their own 2 feet, like Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar in Disney Springs. Jock Lindsay's is themed around Indiana Jones, his pilot, the one and only Jock Lindsay, and their epic adventure to discover the Fountain of Youth. All the signature appetizers and drinks here help Indy and Jock tell their story. You got food like the snakebite beef sliders and the Air Pirates cargo loaded pretzel, or you can get a vodka and melon-based Reggie's Revenge, and the quadruple threat concoction called the Wrong Island, made with rum, vodka, gin, and orange liqueur, with a splash of sweet and sour and Coca-Cola just to help break up all the different alcohols a bit. Even if you're not in the mood for a spirit, you can go over to Jock Lindsay's for a snack and a specialty non-alcoholic signature libation like Teddy's Tea, made with green tea, mint, and tangerine, and the Antidote, aka a Shirley Temple that'll somehow save you from the poison apple you might have accidentally consumed earlier. But if you're looking for a lounge that's just straight up relaxy-taxi vibes, Territory Lounge in Disney's Wilderness Lodge is the one you want to find. Territory opens around 4 p.m. daily, greeting you with a warm glow and rustic vibes. Instead of ordering a cocktail to wash down my food, sometimes we get the Oregon Chardonnay fondue to wash down everything, because that cheese is everything. You can also get seasonal small plates here like pies and bisques. And by the way, that mushroom bisque is usually here. That used to be the famous mushroom bisque over at Artist Point before it was a character meal. And there are artisanal charcuterie boards and house-made potato chips. Basically, everything here is really good. I had the ribs last time and it was awesome. Okay, lounges and bars are great alternatives to having a meal in the Disney dining rooms, but keep in mind that the offerings here will all be much more limited than what you'll find at main restaurants. So if you want a larger variety of options, you'll still want to go ahead and make those advanced dining reservations for the table service and signature meals. Okay, 2 points down, 2 to go. Next up, we're going to dive into a dining hack that'll make your busy Disney schedule so much easier. And then we're going to wrap things up with the granddaddy of all points that are going to make you want to whoop and holler for joy. Remember, if you want to keep all this info in your back pocket, drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com for meals, and we'll send it all your way for free. All right, this next point is brand new to Disney since the reopenings. And a lot of people don't even know this exists. So what if it's not the fact that you don't want to make an advanced dining reservation for a table service or quick service restaurant, but you just know you're not going to have time to sit down and enjoy a nice meal somewhere, even though you really wish you did? Well, what then? Let me introduce you to the little thing called to-go windows. Now, these were not really a thing in Disney World before the park closures, and they have blossomed since. Select Disney World table service restaurants are listed on the My Disney Experience app under mobile food orders, meaning you can dine at a table service restaurant with all the speed of a quick service. Talk about having your cake and eating it too, but you do need to know which table service restaurants you should be on the lookout for. So first up, here's how mobile order works. These are a few quick tidbits of advice to help you breeze through this with no hiccups. Then I'll fill you in on which restaurants you can use this trick on, okay? First up, make sure your credit card info is linked to your My Disney Experience account. Then decide on an arrival window that you can come back and pick up your food. Now, with quick service mobile orders, you can sometimes pick an arrival window that's only a few minutes away, depending on what time you're ordering and how busy the restaurant is. But with the table service or sit-down restaurants, it takes a little longer to prep that food. So you'll need to figure out a return time you can squeeze into your busy schedule. Once you get your food order all submitted on the My Disney Experience app, you'll wait for the app to send a notification to your phone telling you, hey, your food's ready, time to eat up. And that's when you can head over to the restaurant to pick up your order. Now that we've gotten all the technicalities out of the way, here's a current list of table service restaurants that you can mobile order from. Steakhouse 71 at Disney's Contemporary, Kona Cafe at Polynesian Village Resort, Trattoria Al Forno at Disney's Boardwalk Inn, Ale and Compass at Yacht Club, Geyser Point Bar and Grill at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, Olivia's Cafe at Disney's Old Key West, Three Bridges Bar and Grill at Disney's Coronado Springs, and Sanaa at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. By the way, a couple of notes on those. Remember, Steakhouse 71 does have a lounge you can eat in if you want to. Geyser Point Bar and Grill doesn't actually need reservations if you want to go sit down there too. Same with Three Bridges Bar and Grill at Coronado Springs. And Sanaa has a lounge as well. But anyway, if you want to get meals off the actual restaurant menu and take them to go, these are all the places you can do it. For places like Kona Cafe and Olivia's Cafe, I'd say the mobile order option is super convenient. But I must say that mobile ordering at Three Bridges Bar and Grill and Sanaa is still convenient, but you'll be missing out on that lovely ambiance those dining rooms provide. Three Bridges Bar and Grill has sparkling lakeside views, while Sanaa has giant windows overlooking the savannah filled with animals. Geyser Point also has some great lakeside views as well, but whatever choice you settle on, you'll still be able to dine from their menu, so it's a win either way. Now, something I would personally be worried about ordering to go from these restaurants is, well, where am I going to go sit and eat the food? No worries. All of these places actually do have tables nearby that you can go sit down and eat the food. They're not necessarily the tables for the restaurant, but they are tables that are either in a lobby or by the lake or whatever. The ones you might have a little bit of trouble with are Sanaa, Three Bridges, and maybe Trattoria Al Forno. They do have some outdoor tables, but those are not undercover. But if you're staying at a Disney Vacation Club hotel or maybe an Airbnb or something like that where you have a kitchen, then these are great options. Just grab the food and head back and eat in the kitchen. And now it's the moment you've all been waiting for, that I've been waiting for too. It's time to talk about those long-awaited restaurant reopenings. This is our fourth type of restaurant meal you definitely want to have when you're in Disney World. Ever since those park closures, we've been watching the Disney World restaurants slowly return and reopen, and some came back in full throttle and some returned modified, some highly modified, and some are still closed. We're still waiting to hear more about the fate of some of these restaurants, like the signature Epcot restaurants Takumi Te in the Japan Pavilion and Monsieur Paul in France. But two classic favorites, both with extremely different vibes, are finally coming back this summer, and maybe even sooner than you realize. There has been a hoedown-shaped hole in our hearts that can only be filled by the return of Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Review at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. This classic Western dinner show has returned to the Pioneer Hall with an updated script and touched-up scenery that still remains true to the original Hoop-Dee-Doo we've come to know and love since 1974. You'll dine on loads of down-home comfort foods, including but not limited to hoop salad and house-made cornbread for appetizers, pecan smoked barbecue pork ribs and legendary fried chicken for main courses, cornbread-crusted mac and cheese, and home-style mashed potatoes for sides, and of course, Ma's famous strawberry shortcake is coming back for dessert. Now, your dinner show purchase will also come with all you care to enjoy fountain drinks, and if you're 21 and over, sangrias, beers, and wines are also included. And there's a new drink option as well, new new alcoholic drink option. And if you're raring to book a table here, you can do that right now. There are 3 different showtimes daily, 4 p.m., 6:15, and 8:30. The doors for the restaurant open promptly at this time, but the show itself won't start until 20 minutes after, once everyone gets all settled and whatnot. As far as pricing is concerned, that all depends on where you choose to sit. The side balconies cost $66 per adult and $39 per kid. Center balcony costs $69 per adult and $40 per kid, and the main floor costs $74 per adult and $44 per kid. I do not recommend the side balconies. Spring the extra few bucks for the center balcony if you need to. Now, you will have to prepay for this meal, so make sure you have your credit card ready when you make that reservation. And on the flip side, you've got Victoria and Albert's coming back at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort. Victoria and Albert's is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Its AAA 5-diamond rating is thanks to this signature restaurant being the creme de la creme of signature restaurants that you have to dress up in your best duds for. Over the course of a few hours, yes, you heard me correctly, a few hours, you'll be presented with a personalized chef's degustation menu, which will allow you to choose anywhere between 8 to 12 courses, so you definitely want to come hungry. The prefix menu changes up daily to make sure each item is prepared with the freshest ingredients from the world market. But this restaurant is expensive. Like, we're talking, the single person eating here is going to cost a whole lot more than a single day at Disney World park ticket. And depending on if you bite the bullet and book the ultra exclusive chef's table with added wine pairings, then you're looking at a dinner that'll cost more than 2 days worth of Disney World park tickets plus. If you're a food connoisseur and you really do think food is a theme park like we do, then this more intimate dining option might be the right one for you. But Hoop-de-Doo is definitely an easier price range to swallow, and even that's a pretty penny to experience. All right, so those are the 4 meals you need to eat when you're in Disney World. A couple of them are brand new, just coming back. And of course, you want to stay tuned to Disney Food Blog, to DFB Guide, to the blog, to our social media, because we're telling you everything that's happening every day in Disney World. And there's going to be some more new openings of restaurants pretty soon. If you want to stay in the know, head on down to our description and click on the link to join our newsletter. It is completely free, and we put everything in there, so you will be very, very, very in the know if you follow our newsletter. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.